Hey YouTube, Chris Battle here again. Wanted to go over the Larq PureVis 2. In this particular video, wanted to go over pros and cons. So when this bottle does officially launch, I don't believe it has yet, you'll be able to understand whether this bottle may be right or may not be right for you. Sorry. But yeah, so I think I've had this bottle. I got it in the black. My wife got it in a Mojave Dune. It's like a brown, lighter brown. But I got it probably a month ago or so through Kickstarter. So offered some discounts on buying through Kickstarter. But some of the pros that kind of sold me on buying a water bottle like this is the water in our area is not particularly great. We do filter it ourselves in the home, but if you were to get it from anywhere else, it would definitely be dicey. So wanted to go over a couple of the pros and cons that I was able to take notes on from my time using it so far. And just for those of you who don't know much about the company at all, the company Larq, I think it was actually bought by Brita or a subsidiary of Brita in the past couple of years. But I think they were on Shark Tank with their original PureVis bottle. And so probably the first pro right off the bat is the self-cleaning technology. And that's this like UVC lid piece, which has a button actually at the top that you can press to filter out the water. And that itself has um, the ability to supposedly eliminate up to 99% of biocontaminants from the water in the bottle itself. So that's the actual first stage of the filtering. They call it like a dual filter system. That's the first stage of that. Then we've got the basically if you were to go somewhere and need like a heavier filtration, I believe you could hit this little button twice to go for like adventure mode, and that'll run that the electronic UVC LED for 3 full minutes, and it's supposed to help out a little bit more. But that's also a pro. Um, what I'd say is another pro is the long battery life. This does have a USB-C cord that you have to plug in, and they claim that it lasts up to a month on a single charge. I have not. I have charged it just because it's on my nightstand anyway, and I have USB-C chargers. So, but they say you're not supposed to have to charge it that often, which is very nice. And it's not like you're always constantly drinking water every second. So I'm sure you'd find an available time slot where you could give it that charge. So that's one of the things that's really cool with that. And yeah, so that's another good one. And then we have insulation. I think it does say it'll keep the beverage cold for up to 24 hours or hot for up to 12. I wouldn't recommend putting any hot things in here because one, it'll fog up that UV light, and then it could cause some issues. And I just don't see why you'd want to. It's not like a thermos that I would consider including anything hot in. So I'd advise against that. One of the big reasons that the founder started this company was for eco waste and like to get rid of that. So that's another thing. It's pretty eco-friendly. If you're using plastic water bottles, single use, that's a lot of trash that adds up. So that's one pro. And even in the actual app, it'll tell you how much you've saved the environment, so to speak. And just to be clear, I won't be going over the app today. That'll probably be its own video. And the app, spoiler alert, is a huge pro and a con for this water bottle itself, as you'll see in some of the later discussion. But yeah, so stay tuned for that. But I will go through the app on my phone myself at a different time, just in a separate video. So the reason why I was mostly intrigued by this, probably the biggest con, is the dual filtration system I referred to earlier. So that's a physical filter within the cup, as well as with the straw, there's like a physical filter you twist off at the bottom that lasts, I think, 2 months on a single filter. So that to my knowledge, that's the only dual filtration system in like a bottle of this size. This is actually, probably can't see the whole thing. This is the 1 liter version. Um, I don't remember what the other size they have is. Might be like 23 or something, but I got the 1 liter version just to one, encourage me to drink more water, and then also not have to refill it as much. So those are some of the big pros I see with it. Um, Aesthetically, it looks pretty good. I also like this handle, which can come actually off, which I think is pretty cool. So if for some reason you didn't want to have this loop and be able to kind of carry it that way, you can take this, you can take it off, which is I guess cool. It looks a little bit odd to me with it off, so I just keep it on and then tuck it. But yeah, so you could do that too, which is cool. Now, as far as the cons, there are actually a lot of cons as well. I think by far, probably the biggest barrier to entry for folks will be the price point. I'm not trying to go on their website. I'm trying to think how much are they selling this one for. It's still available for pre-order right now, so yeah, it doesn't look like it's out yet, but it is okay. It's $109 for the 23 ounce, $115 for the 34 ounce, which is the 1 liter that I have. Now I didn't pay that because I ordered through Kickstarter and actually really got a good deal along with a bunch of filters. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's probably going to be the biggest con is just the sheer price point of this. I don't know of anybody that has paid over $100 for a water bottle, but at the same time, I don't know of a water bottle that has this specific unique set of features. So that's one thing. Um, yeah. So they also include what comes in the box. You got the bottle, the removable filter straw. So that filter straw is the physical filter. And there have been folks who have said, can you use it without that filter? Absolutely. You still need the straw itself, but you don't have to change that physical filter. So if you're somewhere where you don't need to be filtering your water like that and you just want the filtration through the UVC lid, perfectly capable to do that and would probably save you a lot of money in the long run because you'd only pay the upfront cost essentially, unless you for some reason felt like replacing your lid or something like that. So I think that's the biggest con. It's really expensive if you're following the double filtration and guidelines. So they say the filter should last you 2 months. So if that's lasting you 2 months, that's where I think the real cost of ownership comes from. I was just on their website looking at what it would cost to get filters, and for a 3 pack of filters, right now it's 40. Let's see, and this is what a subscription. It's $40, $39.95, and that includes 3 filters. So that would be on a frequency of shipping every 6 months. So 3 filters is supposed to last you 6 months. So if you're following the guidelines, you are spending $80 a year on filters. So that's something to think about. And what really frustrates me is if you go on their website and let's just say you wanted to get enough filters for the whole year. So you had 2 packs of the 3 pack. The price of that comes out to $79.90, and you're 10 cents away from free shipping. And it's not like something on their site's really cheap enough to spend 10 cents on. So that's frustrating. And then total price ends up being like $87 after that, and taxes and shipping, depending on where you're at. So that's kind of frustrating, I think, is really annoying. I mean, if you're paying for these filters, I feel like, yeah, you should get some type of deal on that. But yeah, so that's the biggest probably con is just the overall price point is pretty ridiculous. And then if you're getting filters and stuff, next thing would be the weight of it. It's definitely heavier than your standard water bottle just due to the technology within it. The lid's, fairly heavy. The whole bottle itself. I like to have ice water, so I don't know. It's just it's heavier than your normal bottle. The insulation's really good, so that obviously adds to the weight. So yeah, and then the charging. If you're not used to charging a water bottle, that's going to be annoying. Even if you only have to do it once a month, it's something that you probably didn't have to do before, and just another thing to charge. So that's something to think about. The limited volume options, they're offering 23 ounces or 34, so 1 liter and whatever the other measurement is. Sorry. So those are your options essentially. Not a whole lot of them. And I'd just recommend the 1 liter. It fits in most of my cup holders. But yeah, I think they try to make them taller instead of wider, just to help with the cup holder issue. But yeah, there are some that it's just not fitting in properly. Another one is it's not suitable for like everything. It doesn't filter out every chemical or every heavy metal. I think they have charts. If you actually go to their website and then type in your zip code, you can actually see some some of the stuff that might be in the water sources near your area, which is really cool. Whether you buy a bottle or not, just to kind of see what uh, what that looks like. But yeah, they're not suitable for every water source. And then there's also like a perceived learning curve. There is the different cycles, like I said. Um, you can press it once, and then it'll use the UV light for a minute, and that's just your normal filter, like purification. That's the PureVis. Um, but then if you, I think you press it twice for the adventure mode. So they say that's if like you're on a hike or something and need something more heavy, I guess, and need more filtration, you'd hit that mode. And then there was a stretch goal actually in the Kickstarter about some apocalypse mode, which is supposed to be even more crazy, but they needed to do some additional testing. And they didn't actually meet that stretch goal, but they did say they would still be adding that to the app at a later date. So not obligated to do so, but they did say they would. So that's something to, I guess, look out for. And then what I probably consider the biggest con after the price would be future software promises. I have backed their Kickstarter, and I've seen they've had like a bigger picture, a picture with the PureVis technology, and they had promised an Android app to people who, I don't know if it was on Kickstarter, it may have been at one point, that backed that. I don't think they've seen the Android app yet, and it's been at least a year or more. So it's a conundrum because you don't want to buy a product and ever feel like people who made the product are obligated to live up to software obligations. So honestly, I would not buy this currently if you're Android only. There's no guarantee that they've said it's coming, but they've also said that before. So that's the unfortunate piece. And then one of the bigger pieces that I'm excited about is Apple Health tracking. I'm using Apple for most of my stuff, so and I use the Health app pretty frequently. Right now, it does not speak to the Health app, and it is not pulling that data in. I used to have an app on my phone called Waterminder where I would just manually do that myself based on the cup I was using. I already know how many ounces it is. As soon as I drink one, I add that. I've stopped doing that because when I reached out to the Larq support team, they said that that data will fill retroactively once it's added within the app. So I don't want to have double water measurements. But as of right now, that's not a thing. So at the end of the day, you have to be okay with that never being a thing when you buy a product like this. So I think that's the biggest thing. And then I'll also go into like the app in its current state in a future video. Frankly, right now, some of that data loads incredibly slow, and I think it's an unacceptable like slowness and delay to actually seeing some of that data when it's all housed there, and there's no like Apple Health integration right now. So, um, yeah, bit of a buzzkill there, but um, yeah. So those are my biggest things. I think one of the biggest cons is Larq adding an Android app. That's been said before, and it hasn't come to fruition yet. So it just says coming soon. Even if you go to their website, coming soon to Google Play. So, and it's said that for over a year. So it's just about really understanding that they don't have to live up to whatever they tell you. Um, if they've already shipped the product, there's no real. It's not like somebody's holding their feet to the fire on that. So that's something that would be a con for me. Outside of that, I mean, I've been enjoying my time with the Larq water bottle. I would say actually another pro is this particular PureVis is done in their like what do they call it, like swig top, and it's like really a wide like spout, so it's I think it's easy to drink water out of it. But being that there is a filter and that straw, it does make the way you drink the water a little bit different. For example, my wife likes to drink water really quickly, so she actually ended up she's not using hers anymore. She's frustrated with the way the straw is, and yeah, so it's just sitting on the shelf now. But I love it, and I don't drink water that quickly. Like, I'm not gulping it like it's the first time I've had water in a year and a half. So when I'm drinking it, it sips smooth to me. But that is something to get used to, I guess, and not for everybody. So but I do enjoy that swig top that they have, and it works out really well. So um, yeah, I think those are like the major pros and cons. If you have any questions, like I said, don't hesitate to reach out in the comments. And I don't think I'm forgetting anything, but if you have anything specific you like to ask, and I've been able to use that, um, yeah, I'll answer that. I'll answer that as soon as possible. So, peace, and thanks for listening.